What is up, you guys? It is time for the NBA playoff round 3, aka conference finals predictions. I bet you Heat, Celtics, Warriors, and Mavericks fans feel pretty stinking excited, but unfortunately, I'm a Suns fan and I feel pretty disgusted. After watching that Game 7, I really have just not been in the mood to make another video on this year's playoffs, but I'm still going to because I know I will get over it, and I know that I'm going to have fun watching the games that are going to be played. I've been a Suns fan for a very long time. I was with them all throughout that decade of not just mediocrity, but just sucking. They were at the bottom of the league for a reason for a very long time, and it felt really stinking good to watch them make it all the way to the finals last year. It was pretty heartbreaking that they lost, but it was straight into the offseason. Kind of just turned off basketball for a while and just focused on other things. This year they came back, won 64 games. I started to get my hopes up, and then they blew it again, this time in the second round, and now there's more basketball to be played. I have to sit there and realize that, man, the Suns should still be on the court. But then there's the breaks. We're not here just to talk about the Suns, we're here to talk about the playoffs. So I need to stop dwelling over the past and look towards the future. There are two really good matchups happening right now, so let's predict them. Of course, before we get started, I must ask, will you please like the video? I ask because it really does help me out way more than I think you guys realize. In the Eastern Conference Finals, we have the number 1 seed Miami Heat taking on the number 2 seed Boston Celtics. 1 versus 2, who would have guessed that? The story of how each of these teams got here could not be any more different. For the Celtics, they duked it out with the championship favorite Brooklyn Nets in round 1 and absolutely humiliated them in front of their friends and family, pulling off the only sweep in all of the playoffs. They then played a grueling 7-game series against the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks and proved to have the poise under pressure to come out on top. Meanwhile, the Heat had the weakest opponent in all of the playoffs in round 1, but still ended up losing a game to the Atlanta Hawks. Then they took on a very hobbled Philadelphia 76ers team, taking advantage of the broken face, injured finger Joel Embiid, and the impersonator that supposedly is James Harden. And they still lost 2 games here. So going off of resumes, I respect the Celtics more for what they have proven so far. But you could definitely argue that as a result of not having to be pushed that hard, the Miami Heat are the more rested and ready to go team. What's more valuable, rest or a tough tune-up? Whoever comes out on top will reveal that answer. Throughout the playoffs, the Heat have been a tough cookie even when dealing with injuries to Kyle Lowry. I don't know how he does it, but Jimmy Butler seems to always step up when playoff times comes a-knockin'. He has averaged a breathtaking 28 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals a night thus far on a 52-36 shooting split. He's vying for that new award, the Conference Finals MVP. But he is not alone on the Heat's team because no championship contending team ever is. Bam Adebayo may not be putting up a lot of numbers, but he has been instrumental for their team's defense and rebounding. And I have to give some credit to the blistering hot shooting of PJ Tucker, and surprisingly Duncan Robinson, who had a pretty down season. But the team is going to need more than just Butler, a defensive Adebayo, and a couple good shooters if they want to beat the Celtics. Both Tyler Herro and Kyle Lowry have been underwhelming thus far, and wildcard Victor Oladipo has had some great moments, but has had many inconsistent moments. The Heat have good pieces, and some are playing really well, but the challenge is getting everyone in the rhythm that you need them in most. Meanwhile, the battle-tested Celtics, in my opinion, have been the sharper bunch. Jason Tatum is playing very well, but between he and Butler, you have to recognize that Butler has outplayed him more consistently. Of course, the level of the defense each guy has gone up against has varied, but still. Also, Jaylen Brown, though he has definitely played a reduced role offensively to Tatum, he has still been a great player, putting up 22, 6, and 5, and he's a second option, so that's pretty stinking amazing. And the role guys for the Celtics, I've been very impressed with, especially Al Horford, one of the more underrated veterans the league has to offer, who normally does the little things that help winning, but he's had his moments where he's done the big things this playoff run. Marcus Smart, the defensive player of the year, has not been perfect, but he's still been pretty good on defense, which is, I guess, what you would hope for. And Grant Williams has looked pretty fantastic off the bench, gotta give him some credit. Now, they definitely need more from Derek White, and I am sure they would hope to get more from Robert Williams, but he's been injured. But perhaps the new opponent is what these two needed, a fresh change in scenery going down to that warm Miami air. Both of these teams have been awesome so far, but in the end, only one can go to the finals. So I am predicting that one team to be the Boston Celtics, taking this series in 6. Western Conference Finals time, we have the number 3 Golden State Warriors taking on the number 4 Dallas Mavericks. The team everyone expected to be here versus the team nobody saw coming. Veterans who have been there, done that, versus young guys who are looking to legitimize themselves on the league's highest stage. The Warriors have not been as convincing a championship favorite as I am sure many people thought they would be. Even when healthy, they have lost questionable games to weakened teams. Why did the Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr.-less Denver Nuggets take a game? How could the Ja Morant-less Memphis Grizzlies not only steal Game 5, but completely knock the Warriors out of the building in that game? Coasting doesn't work in the playoffs, and it seems the Warriors may be taking some nights off. The Mavericks, meanwhile, have gotten this far thanks to adjustments. They did what they need to do to take down the Utah Jazz after being without their best player in Games 1 and 2. Then they made a roaring comeback after being down 2 games to the Phoenix Suns. 2 epic accomplishments that deserve credit. The Warriors are top heavy, and they always have been. Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Jordan Poole handle the scoring. Draymond Green and Kevon Looney man the defense, and then they also have Andrew Wiggins, who does a little bit of everything. After these 6 guys, they used to have Gary Payton, but he's got a broken elbow, so he's not going to be playing for a while. So what has happened to this team, and any team that is so top heavy, is if they have one significant player have an off night, the team could experience a catastrophic loss. If Curry isn't making it rain, the Warriors go dry. If Draymond gets ejected for something that he fully deserves, all of a sudden they were without their best defensive piece. If Kevon Looney's not on the court, they don't have a center. Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, and Andrew Wiggins can't make up for the mistakes of one of those guys being missing. Flip over to the Mavericks and you see one guy standing gloriously at the top, and a plethora of role guys who have been as sharp as can be. Luka Doncic is the best player left in the playoffs. That is the end of that sentence. His averages of 31 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1.9 steals is amazing. He is the all-time leading scorer points per game wise in the playoffs. But like I said earlier, you can't win the playoffs with just having one really good guy. So let's turn our attention to the 3-point shooting gallery. Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, Maxi Kleber, and Davis Bertans have all combined to shoot about 25 threes a night and are hitting 42% of them. Kleber, or Kleba, whatever, especially has been out of his mind. He's scoring 10 a night on a 49% three-point shot, and he's been great on defense. I honestly don't know why they don't just start him over Dwight Powell, who has been doing absolutely nothing for them, but whatever. Then you have the wild card Jalen Brunson. Brunson went from being bullied and embarrassed in games 1 and 2 against the Suns to playing like an all-star. And he did this from learning from his mistakes and fixing what needed to be fixed. The hot shooting, adaptability, and leadership from the playoffs' best player is why the Mavericks have been the Cinderella of this year's playoffs. But will the fairy tale keep going? I like the Mavericks in this series. They have proven to me they are for real, but the Warriors have proven many times that they are for real. So in the end, I am going to predict the Mavericks take this series and go to the finals. Give me the Mavs in 7. So there you have it. My predicted finals matchup is the Boston Celtics taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Jason Tatum versus Luka Doncic. Who deserves to be the new face of the league, even though it's actually Giannis Antetokounmpo or Nikola Jokic, but whatever. Let me know down below who you have winning each conference finals series, and let me know what you think about the 4 teams who lost last round. I think the Suns need to make some major roster adjustments, but let me tell you, I might have to make a video on that because the DeAndre Ayton thing is interesting. Jay Crowder's awful, Cameron Payne's awful, Chris Paul I'm pretty sure turned 57, not 37. Please subscribe for more basketball content. I will see you all next time.